Hi, this is Ennis from Never Stop Trucking. Today's beef that I have is with lumpers. Lumpers. What are they? Why do we need them? Why do we need to pay for them? Why do shippers and mostly receivers cannot unload their freight on their own? Why do we have to pay for it? Well, brokers will say, hey, well, we'll reimburse you. Yeah, you will, but during those transactions, everyone will take a little part of that transaction, and the carrier is always going to be in the loss. No one else, just the carrier. Why? Well, first of all, what's a lumper? A lumper is someone that unloads a truck for a fee. So these big facilities don't want to deal with managing people, paying them benefits, having them on their own insurance, and being liability for them. So they will not unload their freight that they're getting into their warehouse. They're not going to unload it themselves. They're going to hire these lumper companies. They're going to be contractors, and they have nothing to do with them. All right. And these lumpers, they can set their prices. If there is damage, if there's a restocking fee, the way they charge, they can do anything they want, and no one can control them. And these transactions will be between the customer, the shipper, the broker, the carrier, the driver, the dispatcher, you name it. And during those transactions that take place, everyone will take a little part of that money, and a lot of people are getting rich because of those lumpers. You know what? Shippers, receivers, unload your own freight by yourself. All right? Is it that hard? Or customers that need these load transported, pay those lumpers directly. Why do these transactions have to go through me? What do I have to do with that? Nothing. It's not my business. It's not my problem. But no, we cannot get unloaded unless we pay for those lumper fees. Now, I made a video recently about Landstar, how Landstar takes $1.50. Every load you do with Landstar, they will take this $1.50 from every load, and it's kind of some kind of insurance that like you pay, like we don't have insurance. And then I got attacked by these Landstar agents who have no idea what they're doing, and they're just Landstar agents. They have nothing to do with transactions, nothing to do with managing. And for them, like, I'm cheap because I complain about this $1.50. But it's not just my $1.50 for one load. It's hundreds of thousands of loads annually that Landstar does, and they take that fee, $1.50, and they're saying, well, you're cheap, if you're complaining about. No, no. If I am cheap, well, why don't you pay for it? Go ahead and pay out of your own pocket if I am cheap. Another thing, if this is nothing, well, why does Landstar have to charge it if it's nothing? Well, don't charge me. It's nothing, don't charge me. But now, talking about these lumpers, okay, this is the way it goes. It used to be when a driver gets to a facility that has lumpers, all right? It used to be that a driver could do it him or herself, and they would be offered a choice like, hey, if you want to unload this load yourself, you don't have to pay for a lumper fee, or even better, sometimes you were able to write to come up with a receipt and turn it in, and broker would pay you as a driver for unloading that freight, because broker doesn't care if it's going to the lumper or to the driver. They have to pay anyway. Okay, and nowadays they don't even want to take cash. Okay, most of these big lumper places, and lumpers are big monopolies. It used to be like you had several different companies, but now it's like two or three of them that dominate this business. Anywhere you go to these big like Aldi, Kroger, uh, anyone else that has lumpers, they're taking over. Only a few companies. It's like a monopoly, and they're coming up with new systems. A lot of these new places, you can't pay cash anymore. They will not take cash. All right. They will take a card, or some fuel cards have options where you can pay a lumper, or you can do a com check, EFS check, things like that. But guess what? Every time I issue an EFS check, I get charged. All right. I get charged extra, and brokers will not pay you those fees. They will only pay, like if the lumper fee is $100 and EFS charges me $5, the broker will not pay those $5, right? But if they cut out a check, EFS check or COM check, then you will pay them. You will pay the broker those $5. They will charge you for that, okay? So when a driver gets to the delivery and there's a lumper fee and they say, well, we don't take cash. You can pay with a check or with a card. We'll take a card. Okay, here's a card. Oh yeah, but by the way, there's a convenience fee of $10 or $5 for using a credit card. What do you mean a convenience fee? You don't want to take cash. I'm paying you cash. You don't want it. But then you charge me for your convenience $10. Okay, $100 for the lumper, $10 for the convenience, $110. You submit it to the broker. Guess what? Nowadays, most brokers will not pay that convenience fee because it's not their fault. Like, why do I have to pay for it? I'll show you in a minute here, like what we had yesterday. But so why do I have to pay those fees? Also, $100. Okay, lumper is $100. In order for me to get paid from the broker, I have to send the invoice to the factoring company. So the invoice, let's say the load is $1,000, the lumper is $100. So if you get charged 3% from a factoring company will not pay you $100 for that lumper. They will pay you $97. Okay, because now even the factoring company is involved in this transaction. Now they're taking their part. So you don't get the $10 from that convenience fee. You don't get the $3. You have to use your own money, and you have to ask, like Verner, like today, the driver delivered last night. I cannot send that invoice to my factoring company without the receipt for the lumper. And I've been asking Verner all day, hey, send me the updated rate confirmation. Here is the receipt. Here is the signed POD. Everything is here. And then after a while, they're like, oh, no, at the end of the day, we will send it to you. Guess what? It's end of the day. It's 5 p.m. And I still haven't seen that updated rate confirmation. They just don't want to send it. So let me show you. This is Verner's rate confirmation. And look at all these rules. So, must accept tracker tools or be subject to a $50 fine per day. So if this was a 2-day transit, the load is paying $1,000. So they're charging me $100 because the driver did not accept tracker tools, one of the many tracking apps that they have. Okay. If drivers are not allowed on the dock at a shipper, then the driver is responsible for making sure the BOL is notated by the shipper prior to departing that this is a shipper load, shipper count facility. What if the shipper does not want to do that? Most of them will not do it, okay? Otherwise, any potential shortages could result in a claim. Drivers need to pay for lumper fees in cash. Guess what? Aldi in Saxonburg, Pennsylvania, will not take cash. How am I going to pay cash? As the convenience service fees incurred using a check or card will not be reimbursed. Tough luck. Carriers, where is it? Carriers must turn in a lumper fee received within 72 hours of delivery. I did it right away. Or their misspelling, not their without I. There will be no reimbursement. While drivers are at Aldi receivers, they must inquire about any additional charges beyond the typical lumber unloading fee. If a restack of products is involved, driver must either get pictures of the product himself or herself, ask the receiver or lumper service for pictures. If there is any issue with this, if there are any issues with this, this is grammar police. It must be reported to Retransport immediately. Who's Retransport? I thought we booked a load with Verner. Or carrier driver can assume the additional charges will not be reimbursed. Call Retransport immediately to report. Look at this. It's the driver's responsibility to ensure when signing for a load, the product was loaded in good condition. What if they don't let you on the dock? Most of them will not, these big companies. And properly blocked and braced for transit. As soon as the BOL is signed, the driver owns the product. The driver owns the product, really? So I can just take it home. It's my product now. What do you mean owns the product? How can the driver own the product? That's ridiculous. Uh, and is responsible for the condition of the product during transit. Also, the driver has to drive and be in the back of the trailer at the same time and make sure that nothing is falling down or getting damaged. All of our DCs are driver unload facilities. So the drivers are allowed on the docks to take pictures of restacks if necessary. If driver cannot provide further documentation to help clarify driver via shipper error, we will have to deny this request, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so here you have it. Lumpers, totally unnecessary. First, shippers can easily unload this freight themselves, or they can pay those lumpers themselves. Why do we have to pay it? Why does everyone have to become rich by charging 10 cents, 20 cents, 50 cents, $5, $10 on each load or each unloading or a loading procedure? Why? Okay, if I'm being cheap, then why are you charging me? Then if this is nothing, like if this is not a big deal, like if 50 cents is not a lot of money, then don't charge me. Okay, why do you have to charge me? That's my question to you, if you're a shipper, if you're a broker, if you're a customer. Thanks for watching. Yeah, that's it. Goodbye.